Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I am Henry Carter from Medscape. I've got the privilege of moderating this fireside chat this morning with two experts in the pharma industry. We have Tiana and Adel. Tiana, would you like to say a couple of words about yourself and your background?
So hello everybody, it's a pleasure to be here. So I actually work at Takeda as the head of content innovation. So we're responsible for everything that relates to content for medical and commercial, including technology and platforms. So it's a quite comprehensive scope. Actually, I've been at Takeda just 5 months, I have to say, but I have been in the industry close to 20 years. Being in a lot of commercial roles and operations roles and at Roche, Novartis, Adel, in marketing, sales, digital. So quite a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And Adel,
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here, and thanks to the organizers and also the first very provocative, thought-provoking presentations from the first panelists. Well, I'm Adel. I'm the Global Vice President, Head of an oncology product that treats different types of cancer. I've been working for Merck in the oncology space for the last 10 years across different sales and marketing, lifecycle management, strategy, and commercial development roles, and before that 10 years across different country operation and operation roles. So excited to be here with you today.
thank you. So our topic title recognises that we are in a cross-functional universe, and we've heard a lot about cross-functionality this morning already. So the first question I wanted to open up is, how can an organisation best bring all of the cross-functional teams together to believe in a single value proposition and bring it to life? Can we all steer towards delivering the same value proposition regardless of function? And what role does marketing play in helping to shape that unified value proposition? Anna, let's start with you.
Thank you, Henry. Well, I will build on something that resonated a lot with me from what JB said in the very first session. I think we all in pharma are having a clear purpose of bringing innovation, our products, our brands, faster to patients. And at the heart of that innovation, when you work with your R&D teams early on to develop what we call target product profile, the marketing team hand in hand with the R&D organization and the medical affairs organization, the face of the customer, work hand in hand to develop this particular value proposition. I think what's really super critical when you look at a market like the United States, where you see a lot of launches are not reaching the objective of driving rapid uptake. If you look at the reasons for those few who manage to deliver on their forecast pre the launch phase, and you find a very unique quality. That unique quality is having been able to fully articulate the value proposition, the creation, the core value that our customers want to see from this particular product, and making sure that every function, not only marketing, not only medical affairs, also payers, also your market access and pricing teams, your commercial functions clearly are able to articulate your value proposition and bring it to life. That was the key defining factor in those far more successful launches in meeting the pre-launch forecast. And I think if you think about it, it's not as easy, because you need to make sure that you really focus on what matters the most to your customers. And what this means is that you really need to listen to your customers. You need to understand what patients are looking for. And with it, you need to drop some things that might not as important to your customer as you think it might be as important. So I think building that clear value proposition, aligning the entire organization on creating that value proposition in their own domains, be it medical, be it marketing, be it commercial, or be it also your customer design teams, is really super critical. So I think we really need to be obsessed with having that unique one value proposition aligned across all functions, and then deliver and execute in different, I would say, functional domains.
Tiana, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I fully agree. And I have to say, I love the first panel when said, what does customer experience mean? A connected cross-functional team needs to customer experience. And I love the answer, nothing. Because I do believe that working across functional team is something internal that is not a choice anymore. We have to. If you think about customer engagement, customer experience, driving value to customers, we have to speak as one voice. So it is about building a collective ambition. It is about aligning on the narrative. It is about how to convert the organization into one objective. And I think it's very nice to say, right? But it's very difficult to implement, especially internally. I think we have to recognize that we do have challenges as we're doing this. So we said, okay, bring our customer to the center. What does this mean? Right? Listen to our customer. What does this mean? And how we collectively listen the same needs. How we collectively translate the needs into the points that are going to focus internally. So there are some points that we have to do along the way for us to be able to really drive customer engagement with cross-functional team. I do feel like we have to align on KPIs. We cannot say marketing, commercial, operations, medical. We should all align with one common goal to be able to build one common narrative. I think the other point that I have to look at when we're implementing this is org designs. Especially in pharma, we're very traditional in the way that we organize ourselves. And there are many organizations that say, okay, we have the digital team, we have the commercial team. Why? Should we not have one strategy that digital is the way that we're going to deliver our commercial objectives? So there's a lot of organizational silos, including marketing. Right? And I think in a cross-functional team, as we really want to drive connected execution, silos should actually be broken. It's all about how to provide the service, how to bring the right information to patients, because I think at the end, we are all there, regardless of the function, to have meaningful outcomes, to deliver the information about our product and service that our customer needs. At the end, what we all want to have is to drive the right business impact, to accelerate treatment in the market, and to be able to provide the right information to treat patients better. Right? So that's why we have to align on our goals, have one narrative that resonates across, and have actually one aligned vision to be able to deliver this.
And to build the best possible customer experience. And that's the next point I think we wanted to touch on, that we live in a time now where there's a huge focus within pharma and marketing striving for the best possible customer experience. And so my next question, maybe we'll start with you, Tiana, is to what extent can a sharp focus on customer experience really marry with share of voice generation? And can they be fully complementary to each other, and how?
So first of all, I want to start with a question to the audience. And unfortunately, we should have this on slide. Do you know what is the current attention span that we have after the digital acceleration?
Current attention span.
3 seconds. If you're lucky, you get to 8. In 2000, just during the acceleration of digital, that was 12 seconds. So actually, I think that attention span is actually reducing quite significantly. So the only way to be able to move from 3 to 8 seconds, if you really deliver what matters. So it's all about customer engagement and customer experience. And I think as we move into this direction, right, we keep telling ourselves that customer experience is the right timing at the right moment with the right channels. I think those are the buzzwords that Adel put on one of his first slides. What this actually means, what is our role when we speak about share of voice and customer engagement? In my opinion, is to increase our attention span. You really need to have a holistic message and a holistic way to deliver what is meaningful for you to get to the 8 seconds. Because that's where it starts impacting our share of voice. And when you move into this direction, you need to measure, right? So it's all about what are the KPIs that are going to be in place, how we're going to drive business outcomes, how we're going to measure the impact, and how do we actually ensure that you have your customer with you, understanding the message that you're delivering. So again, I think customer experience, customer engagement, currently is not a choice. For me, it is really a competitive advantage, and it's here and you cannot deny it. So we have to use it at the best to really be able to increase the attention span.
And Anna, what are your thoughts? Does it gel with share of voice generation, or does it conflict sometimes?
What said Tiana, I couldn't really agree more. To a large degree, I don't see the conflict. I see it complementary. And I really like what Wayne mentioned about the concept of acquisition versus acquisition plus retention versus acquisition plus retention and expansion. And I think this is what we really need to be obsessed with. How can we evolve from a model where we have always been focusing on the brand, its attribute, transaction at a time, to an opportunity that comes with an entire experience, sometimes always on experience after that particular one transaction. And with it, how can we maintain and maximize the customer impact across the customer life cycle? So I think to a large degree, I see complementary.
In the last 4 minutes we have, I wanted to touch on quite a big point, a big question that we discussed. What are marketers expected to be in 2025? So we know that marketers, among many other things, are expected to be digital specialists. They're expected to be copy and messaging specialists, customer experience specialists. Is there still a core focus amongst this? Or maybe does the function need to evolve or be redefined?
Well, I have to say we couldn't be more excited about what the digital advancement, the depth of the data, the more knowledge that can present itself to us to be more customer-centric, that we as marketing are now in the pharma industry. And I think it's a super exciting time to be at this particular juncture where, yes, maybe we do not get to that model where we have that hyper-personalization of the media streaming industry or the fashion industry. But I think we're also evolving as an industry from that typical segmentation maybe model to more closer to personalization. If I think about the core values of marketeer in this new era, I don't think it's changing. I think the fact that we as marketeer want to create value to our different stakeholders, to be patient-centric, to drive impact to our customers and do all that in a compliant way is not changing. But I think what's really is changing is the how. And I think here it's really important that, I think it was mentioned by Marco, it was mentioned by others, that we need to have marketers who have IT literacy, who have digital and data literacy. You need to be able to ask the right question and mobilize resources in the right direction to answer important business questions. I think that's one really key point. The second key point is about collaboration at speed. Cross-functional collaboration does not have to be slow. It doesn't have to be slow. I think it's really an opportunity for us to work in such abundance of data, to find the role of agility, of test and try and learn, and deliver new projects at scale and at speed. I think the third quality that I really think is ownership of the customer experience. I always think that accountability of the customer experience belongs to no one and to everyone. And I think there is a role for the marketeer to step up and have the ownership of the customer experience, and that leads to the fourth, in my view, very important quality for a marketeer, which is leadership. The marketeer needs to inspire. You will have more and more teams joining your brand team. You will have the data team, you will have the digital team, on top of your cross-functional usual suspects, and you need to make sure that you are able to mobilize for change, you inspire the team, and drive for impact. So I would say, in a nutshell, sometimes you will be the strategist, you will be the data, not scientist, but at least knowledgeable. You will be the person who knows more about data and evidence, but you always have to inspire. You always have to be.
So I'll bring it, I agree, and I want to bring another perspective as well. And I asked permission for Dario to be a little bit provocative, so I just want to leave you guys with a thinking at the end. I was already brand lead. I was already in the field. I think when we start doing customer-centric transformations, we expect the marketeers to design a customer journey, to be able to orchestrate, to be able to deliver a campaign, to be able to deliver briefing, they will not do this. I think that's a very maybe ambitious and sometimes naive thinking. The marketeers will drive the strategy of the portfolio, of the brand, and the collective narrative to align the organization. As we, as digital transformation or leads or functions that must work in that environment to transform to customer centricity, we should be able to serve the market teams. How we bring value to them so they can deliver the brand strategy, the portfolio, and the impact on the market that they're there to deliver. Can we provide our core roles as a service to them? To really empower students and to give them the right skills for them to drive the change in the market. So just a thinking, and I do believe that the regulators will play.
I'm afraid I think we are out of time for questions, but please come find us afterwards. Tiana and Adel, thank you very much.